In astonishing legal developments, Chief Justice Boasberg of the District of Columbia has effectively rolled out that he will not be dismissing Donald Trump's deportation case despite the Supreme Court ruling rightfully, legally, and constitutionally, lawfully, and overall rightfully. Why? Well, let's just explore that and break it down in today's video. This reporting is by USA Today. The article is titled, Judge Keeps Trump Deportation Case Despite Supreme Court Action. And ladies and gentlemen, the article begins and reads, New York, a U.S. judge canceled a hearing set for Tuesday over whether to impose a longer lasting block on President Donald Trump's deportation of Venezuelans under a 1798 law historically used only in wartime after the Supreme Court lifted his temporary ban, but did not immediately dismiss the case. As, ladies and gentlemen, that is his lawful legal authority to do as a judge, despite what you MAGA folk and right-wing folk, supporters of the illegal fascist Donald Trump, say. Continuing with the article. The Supreme Court on Monday night granted the administration's request to end Washington-based U.S. District Judge James Boasberg's Boasberg' order that had temporarily blocked the summary deportations under Trump's invocation of the Alien Enemies Act while litigation in the case continues. The unsigned 5-4 decision ruling was powered by the court's conservative justices. Ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind the article just read that it said while litigations play out does not mean that the case had to be dismissed. I'll say that again. The article read that the Supreme Court said while litigations play out. that does not mean, again, that the case had to be tossed and dismissed. Continuing with the article. In a filing after the Supreme Court decision, Justice Department lawyers told Boasberg, B-O-A-S-B-E-R-G, that he no longer has jurisdiction in the matter, should drop the case and should deny the preliminary injunction request by the migrants. Ladies and gentlemen, again, the Supreme Court ruling said that the case doesn't have to, in other words, be dismissed while litigations play out. So the Justice Department has no basis or reasoning or legal reasoning, if that, to demand that Boasberg, B-O-A-S-B-E-R-G, dismiss and toss out the deportations case. You guys are misinterpreting these rulings, which is why I'm here to put into perspective what the ruling actually means. Continuing with the article. In ending Boasberg's BOASBERG''S temporary restraining orders, barring such deportations issued on March 15 and March 28, and lasting 2 weeks apiece, the Supreme Court said detainees should have contested their deportations in Texas, where they were confined, rather than in Washington. In a brief written order on Tuesday, Boasberg, B-O-A-S-B-E-R-G, asked lawyers for the detained Venezuelan migrants to tell him by April 16 whether they intended to move forward with their bid for a longer-lasting preliminary injunction. Lawyers with the American Civil Liberties Union, who are representing the migrants who have filed a legal challenge to Trump's use of the 18th century law to justify deportations, did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Speaking to reporters outside the White House on Tuesday before Boasberg's BOASBERG''S postponement, Trump-appointed U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi said the Supreme Court's decision meant the violent gang members already deported would remain in El Salvador, where they are being held, and that she expects the case to move to Texas. That is where, again, this broad is wrong about the Supreme Court ruling. What the Supreme Court again meant by their ruling is that the case did not have to be dismissed or tossed out. Again, Pam Bondi, I suggest you keep your mouth shut. Continuing with the article. The Supreme Court has spoken loud and clear. He has no jurisdiction, Bondi said, referring to Boasberg, Boasberg. That is not at all what they are meaning. While litigations play out, is what they meant. They're not saying that Boasberg has no jurisdiction. What they're saying is, yes, they agree, unfortunately, that the cases should have been filed in Texas. However, they did not say that the cases had to be immediately dismissed and moved to Texas instead of Washington, D.C. That is where you guys are mistaking these rulings. Continuing with the article. Despite siding with the Trump administration, the court's majority placed limits on how deportations may occur, emphasizing the judicial review is required. The ruling did not address how individuals currently held in El Salvador could seek judicial review. Lee Gillerant, who is a lawyer with the American Civil Liberties Union, representing a group of Venezuelan men in the custody of U.S. immigration authorities, on Monday framed the court's decision as a victory because it required people be given due process to challenge their removals. Trump invoked the Alien Enemies Act on March 15 to swiftly deport the alleged members of the Trinity-Aragua gang, to speed up removals with a law best known for its use to intern Japanese, Italian, and German immigrants during World War II. The ACLU sued to block the deportations, arguing that Trump's order exceeded his power because the Alien Enemies Act authorizes removals only when war has been declared or the United States has been invaded. Before we continue with the last paragraph to the article and sentence, ladies and gentlemen, the lawyers for the ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union, are correct solely because currently, as of March 20th, 2025, the United States are not currently in an invasion with any of our foreign allies or countries, in other words. Let's continue with the last sentence and paragraph to the article. They also said they were not given the opportunity to contest the administration's assertion that they were Trinidad members. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude it for today's legal breaking reporting and legal analysis video update. If you guys did enjoy this legal breaking reporting and analysis video update, please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. If you want to make sure that you never miss a brand new legal breaking reporting, please consider hitting the bell icon that is right next to the subscribe button on the right hand side below the screen here, and clicking the all notifications options. That way you're notified of every single breaking legal analysis reporting and legal analysis video update. You can also do so by following me on my social medias that I will have linked down below in the video description. I'm on Instagram, Snapchat, Instagram, Threads, as well as TikTok. There you guys can be updated instantly when I have posted a brand new legal breaking analysis reporting video. Thirdly, and lastly, ladies and gentlemen, please help me reach and achieve the goal of 150 plus subscribers. The reason why I'm saying 150 plus subscribers is because right after we reach and achieve the goal of 150 subscribers is because we have more subscribers to reach right after we reach and achieve the goal of 150 subscribers. Until my next legal breaking reporting, ladies and gentlemen, please please stay positive, please stay safe, and know that justice will prevail on the correct side of the law, despite Donald Trump and his illegal administration's unconstitutional, illegal, unlawful executive orders.